Yeah, my name's Brenna Luke. Currently I have 3 children in LPS. My oldest graduated 2 years ago. I have a 10th grader, an 11th grader, and a 1st grader. And when school was canceled back in March, we all just brought them home. I work as a real estate agent, and I was doing that full time, pretty much 12-hour days back before COVID hit. My husband works as a molecular biologist here for a biotech company. And so when March hit, it was tough. I'll just say it was really tricky to balance everything out. My kids were home all of a sudden. To cut it short, my daughter, my 6-year-old daughter, who's really the extrovert of our family, we're 5 introverts and then her. She kind of fell into a deep depression. It was hard. A kid who never cried every single day. As a mom, it was hard to watch and to try to fill the roles with remote learning, which was failing, honestly, at March, because I understand it was brand new. No one really knew what was going on, but it was failing for the most part for Ella, for her. My older kids, they're pretty self-motivated. I'm blessed to have good kids who do the work every day. They've been identified as gifted. They're in the AP class as diff since they were in elementary, so they just kind of fought through it and got it done. But it was nice when summer came. We didn't have to worry about that whole what we're going to do. So as summer came, we just listened to the news, waited to hear what was going to happen. We didn't know what was going to happen. And every day it seemed to change. We understood that everyone was trying to do what was best for 40,000 kids in Lincoln. We just watched the news every day and see what the decision was. At one point, it was late July, I think, they decided that everyone was going to go back 100%, and I said, great, that's what we're going to do. And my daughter, my littlest, was really excited. My oldest kid, I call them my big kids, so my big kids were just like, okay, fine. We're a very predictable and organized family. We eat dinner at the same time every night. We know where everyone's going to be any given day. We just are an organized, predictable family. And so to have this constant question of what was going to happen for the school year was really taking its toll on us emotionally and mentally. We just didn't know. My work had been completely gone by then with COVID hitting, so we took a little loss there, but fortunately my husband was still able to work. His work actually doubled because he is one of the companies doing the research for all the vaccines. So we've been blessed to still have income. I will say that hasn't been a huge trial, but my husband's gray right now. He's just gray. He doesn't sleep. He goes to work at 2 in the morning, gets home at 4. He's just tired. So anyway, this came time to register the kids for school. We registered the big kids for high school. It was that very same day that Steve Joel came and announced that they were going to do 50% remote learning. And that kind of was like a punch to the gut because, again, we like predictability. And I understand we're all in the same boat. I mean, we weren't acting very special or anything. But it was like, oh, now what are we going to do? Because we'd had this plan, and we were going to go forward with this plan, and we were going to do it. So I gave the kids the option. I said, okay, guys, you can do this 50% plan, or we can homeschool. A little bit of premise, I have a daughter who has Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, asthma, and arthritis. So she is kind of in that category of immunocompromised. We weren't terribly worried about her, but I do have to keep her in mind, and so, but I ultimately said, you guys are old enough to make this decision on your own. You're 15, 16, what do you want to do? Whatever you want to do, we'll make it work. My daughter immediately said she wants to homeschool. And I kind of just took a sigh and said, okay, I've never homeschooled before. I have several friends who what I call professional homeschoolers. They've been doing it. They come from families who were homeschooled. It's in their blood, basically. And I was never one of those. I never wanted to be a homeschooling parent. I liked the break, right? And I also understand and support and admire and respect teachers who are so good at what they do. And I speak very specifically for elementary school teachers, since I've had 3 go through and I have 1 now. They just know how to relate to these kids. They're good at what they do, and I just have never have been. So my son was, my 10th grader was like, no, we'll go, I'll do 50%, but then he realized that all of his friends were on a different track or plan than he was based on their last names. So he just said, we're going to homeschool. And so we had 9 days until school started. And I started making calls to all my friends who homeschool, and I say, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I met with a couple of them. One of them gave me a stack of books, said, here's what you do for history, here's what you do for math, here's what you do for chemistry, for pre-calculus, for physics. Topics I have no idea how to teach. I don't know anything about them. I had another friend who said, if you want to homeschool your littlest, then just let me know and I'll help you. But we had decided to send my littlest to school because they were 100%, and because of having gone through 6 months of a little girl who cried every day because she just wanted to be near kids her own age. I said she needs to go back to school. If they offer it, she has to go back, just for her emotional well-being. So she currently is in 100%. My 2 kids are home, my big kids. We had to adjust our schedules dramatically. So we still haven't even received our confirmation level from a letter from the state yet. I think it was back in the very beginning of August, we applied to be homeschooling, and then we still haven't gotten it back, but we just keep carrying forward because we know that they're completely swamped. So basically, I teach my kids finance and classic literature every day. We spend about 2 hours doing that. Then I go to work for about 4 hours. During that 4 hours, they are home and they do their hard classes, what I call them, chemistry, physics, pre-calculus, and we have online programs and supplemental materials for that. So I ordered textbooks, I ordered things. My husband's a chemist, or a microbiologist, but so he can help my son with his chemistry and stuff. It's not perfect. I'll say it's not perfect, and I'm very, very tired. I'm just mentally tired. I feel like I'm barely treading water above level every day. I just trying to manage everything, and it's not just physically, it's just emotionally, it's taking a toll on us, right? But we know it's the best thing that we could have done because we needed the routine. We needed to know what to expect. And the second we said we're going to homeschool, it just felt great just to know what we were going to do. We didn't have to listen to the news. We didn't have to listen to the radio to see what they were going to decide for us. We just had control over it and said, here's what we're going to do. The goal would be, hopefully everything is not back to normal, but hopefully everything's kind of normalized as well as normal can be by next school year, and then we'll put them back in LBS because my daughter really wants to graduate from Southeast High School next year. And my son really wants to go to woodshop. So we'll hopefully be able to do it a year, but we're just kind of making it work in the moment. And we're all very tired and we have really bad days, honestly.
Could we ask you some questions?
Yes, go ahead.
You say your daughter and son want to go back to public school.
Yeah.
How do you know what class they'll be put into?
So that's a good question. That was some research I had to do before we started homeschooling of how to keep a transcript. So you can have a homeschool transcript, and as long as you keep record of what courses you teach, the sources you teach them from, and as long as you grade them, which I have to spend every evening grading things, we can provide the schools with the transcript. And then hopefully everything will kind of transfer over. We do have a backup plan to put them in dual credit courses at Southeast Community College next semester for some science and math classes. We're kind of just playing it by ear at this point.
Do you know if you wish to just for a backup to test that you want to know you're doing something, their kids are learning that. Can you go to the public school and say, I want my kids to, when you're having your testing in the 11th grade level, the 10th grade level, the 1st grade level, can my child come in and take that test?
I would hope they could. With the courses we're providing them right now, we have
Well, we just had, for example,
that's kind of our goal, is to make sure they can take those tests and they can take the ACT and the SAT.
The MAP growth administrator indicated, and Senator Bloomstead, I just
Yeah.
wanted if homeschoolers can take those tests.
That's our goal. That's my goal this year. And again, I do have, my daughter is worried about that, honestly, because she has to take the ACT in the spring. So we're actually doing an ACT prep course this coming spring. And my sophomore son is taking it as well, just because we're together.
It's supposed to be offered by the public schools, I believe, at the end of the junior year, but I didn't know if the homeschool kid could show up and take that test. I think they should be able to.
They should be able to, yeah. And I plan, my children are taking the ACT, or my daughter, she's a junior, will be taking the ACT in April. That's our plan. And if we
And
do
you're gonna
everything
pay for
right,
it.
she'll be ready to do it, and
You're gonna pay for it yourself, you're not
Yep.
gonna.
we'll
take
pay
to
for
the
it
phone.
ourselves, and we'll pay for it as many times as she needs. You know, she wants to get a 32, so she can get a Regents at UNL. So that's our goal. I mean, that's what she wants to do. My oldest son got it, my youngest son wants it, and we're gonna do whatever it takes at home with online courses, with tutors if we need to, which we have at our disposal. We have friends who are willing to tutor our children to make sure they can take those tests to get into
For the
college.
scholarships.
Yep, for scholarships.
Thank you. Any other questions? Senator Walls?
And maybe I missed it, and if I did, I'm sorry, but was there an option for full-time virtual online learning at LPS?
There was, we wanted nothing to do with that.
Okay, I was just
Just
curious.
based on our spring experience, and my daughter my daughter is an anxious kid. She's the one with all the health problems. She's an anxious kid. She was the one that said, Mom, I just cannot sit in front of a computer for 6 hours a day. And my son, who is a very hands-on kid, he really can't sit that long. He's as smart as the whip. He's got an engineer brain. He designs and builds motorbikes for fun. That's his hobby. So he's a smart, math-oriented kid. He just can't sit in front of a computer.
Okay,
And honestly, I didn't want them to.
yeah, I just was
For that
curious
one.
if there was.
No, there still is an option. There still is an option. And honestly, every month, for the past 3 months, I've looked at them and said, okay, guys, how are we doing? You still have the option. Do you want to go back for second quarter? Do you want to go back for third quarter? What do you want to do? And they both say, no, we just want to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
So we put a lot of it into their hands, and my husband and I just kind of are making it work for them, and we're making sure they're ready for those tests and stuff.
Senator Linehan?
If you have them signed up for dual credit at Southeast, will they be able to go in person to class?
To Southeast, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I do know that the courses we were looking into offer the classes during the day. So it's like 11 to 12, 11 to 1, somewhere like there. So it'd be part of our daily curriculum. Wouldn't have to take any night classes or anything.
But
if
you don't know if they're virtual or in person?
I don't know. I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you. You didn't spell your name for the transcriber.
Oh, Brynnnaluke.
Thank you. Thank you. That was very good testimony. Learned a lot.